Our next speaker is a very close friend of mine. He is a delight. I've known him for about 6 years, and he's a retired fireman. He's a pistol. He's a character, but he has undergone such a change since he's come to this program. He has exhibited a change in his life, a change in his mannerisms, an enduring quality about him to be able to share so raw and so honestly has impressed me so much that I asked him to speak today. And he's not going to like me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When my girlfriend first met Toby, she was afraid of him. And now she says, I love Toby. I am so proud of him. So without any further ado, I give you Toby, who's going to talk to us about healthy fear.
Healthy pain. Pain.
I'm sorry. Healthy pain. Healthy pain.
Am I on? I'm on.
You're on.
You want me to turn that off or leave it on? Doesn't. Oh, okay. Yeah, healthy pain. My name is. I was going to do this. Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. ¿Cómo estás hoy? Buenas. And for those who didn't understand what I just said, if you're anything like me, you're making up stories and lies about me right now. Because I do that all the time. When I get confused or when I don't understand something, I start thinking weird stories, and I have this whole descriptive narrative that goes with it. A therapist once said, you ever think about writing books? Because you're great. You make up all these stories, and I do. I'm learning that about myself now, that I make up stories, and I believe the stories that I make up. So I can tell you all about yourself. You know, and it's not true. I was preparing for this, and all the stuff that Derek said except my name is a lie. I like to say things like that. I have learned from all of you what a great guy I am. Before you came to me and rescued me, I didn't have a very good image of myself. As I said, my name's Toby. I'm from a little western Kentucky farm town. I came here to Lake Worth originally in 1976, like this. And I was scary. I had real long hair. I hadn't shaved in years. And I hung my thumb out. And so I tell people I rode my thumb to Florida. 3 days after I left my hometown, I was in Lake Worth. Lived in my tent for 3 days. Lived in my tent for 6 weeks. Yeah, I did. Back when Lake Worth, if you went a mile west of Lake Worth, a mile south of Lake Worth, you were in the country. There was cows and stuff. And I found a little wooded area, and I put up my tent, and I stole whatever I had to get high, to get drunk. Anyway, I did that for about 6 weeks, and at that time, the sheriff of Palm Beach County was kind enough to put me up for the next 6 weeks. I did something really stupid. Anyway, I went through life ashamed of myself. And I don't have to look at any of you and say, can anybody relate to that, growing up in shame? I don't have to do that. Because I look at you and I see me, and I know you can look at me. And if not, you will learn to see yourself. We don't call each other fellow travelers for some silly reason, right? So I was told from a very young age by two parents who loved me dearly. I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, I grew up in a perfect family. My parents loved me. They gave me everything. They nurtured me. I don't know what happened. That's not true. My parents had no business having children. But I had no business having children. And now I have 10 going on 11 grandchildren. I didn't know how to do what my parents didn't know what to do. I have forgiven my parents. When I first came in here, if my dad had been still been alive, I would have told Derek I wouldn't say the F word. I didn't tell him I wouldn't say the A word. And I do that. I know I'm fond of the F word. I'm fond of profanity because that keeps people away from me. That scares people, and people are afraid of me. And I didn't realize until I learned from you guys that I like that. I like it when people ask me all over the place, did you ever ride a motorcycle? Sue asked me today, you ever ride a motorcycle? And I wonder why people think I was a biker. Because I like for people to think I'm a tough guy. And I'm not. I'm a scared to death guy. Still. But I know it now. Before you guys told me, before you came into my world, I didn't know that. Anyway, I wanted to mention, Derek didn't tell me this was the clothing optional meeting. When I look out here and see all you people are naked, I went, you don't even know you're naked, do you?
Take it off, Toby.
You know what I would have done? You know what I would have done before ACA? When I looked out and saw all of you naked, I would have taken my clothes off. I wanted to be one of you. I wanted to fit in. I would do anything to fit in. I would do anything. Page 139, if you're reading a big red book, talks about me. And when I read it, I went, oh my God, how do they know me so well? I came here, I was broken. A relationship of 7 years, just like it says on page 139. My woman left me and I was incomplete because I always told her, you complete me. When she said she was leaving, I thought it was the end of my life. I told her, and I'll quote myself, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know if I can live without you. I don't know if I can do that. Here I am. Meeting her was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Her leaving was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Right after that, my therapist said, Toby, have you ever been to an ACA meeting? And mind you, 1976 in April, I got clean and sober. This judge, in his infinite wisdom, who knew me better than I did, he said, you want to go to prison? That's not the way he said it. You want to go to prison or you want to go to rehab? Well, I'd been in jail a lot, almost everywhere I ever went, because I drank, I consumed mass quantities. My using didn't last as long as it did with some people, because the quantity that I was using, I wouldn't have lasted as long as some of you. So less than 10 years after I started, I stopped. Anyway, that introduced me to what people so lovingly called the beverage program. And it was so wonderful because people told me they loved me. I cringed the first time a man hugged me. What is going on here? I cringed, but I learned to dig that. I learned to love it. I learned when I came here to laugh and have fun. We learned to laugh and have fun. That's why I make so many jokes, because now I have problems being serious. I have to learn to be serious. I like to have fun. That little boy that is such a vital part of me, comes out a lot, and I allow it. Before going much further, I meant to say this much earlier. I get off script, and I meant to say this much earlier. I want all of you to know that I see you, and that you are enough. You've always been enough, and you will always be enough. And I love you just the way you are. I would encourage everyone to say that to at least one person each day. And for sure, say it to yourself many times each day. I love you just the way you are. I remember early in my ACA, can you tell I'm uncomfortable? I'll stick my hand in my pocket. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to open my body to everyone and make you feel, right? I remember one of my first experiences. After a meeting one night, I went out with a buddy and his new girlfriend. And I like to have fun. I like to laugh and joke. And I told the most tasteless joke. I don't know why. I think I like the shock effect. I like for people to think I'm a tough guy, I guess. But I told a tasteless joke, and I was driving home later that night, and I thought, oh my God, why did I do that? That's his brand new girlfriend. He's going to think, she's going to think. And I was really worried. My parents used to say, I'm so ashamed of you. What will the neighbors think? What will the neighbors think? You should be ashamed. Well, I was shaming myself again. This was early in my, I still do it at times. I'm not cured. I'm glad I'm not, because then I couldn't hang out with you guys anymore. But I was agonizing for about an hour, so I called Rick. For those of you who know, dear man, love him to death. I called him, and here's how the conversation went on his end. Hello? I said, hey, Rick, Toby. He said, hey, man, how you doing? I said, hey, man, I just wanted to call you and apologize for telling that tasteless joke in front of your new girlfriend. Not a split second passed. Instantaneously, Rick said, I'm not trying to remember what he said. I'm trying to make it so I can say it. It affected me so profoundly. Instantly, he said, Toby, we love you just the way you are. I almost popped an F word there. It had such a profound effect on my recovery. Another thing that had such a profound effect on my recovery was the first ACA meeting I attended. Another dear man. I heard him say two things. He said, we have a solution. There is a solution. I had no idea there was a solution. I just thought I was this way, and I had to accept it, and I was defective. That's what I thought. There's something wrong with me. My whole life, people have said, what is wrong with you? My whole life, I have said, what's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me. I don't like to call those defects what AA told me was defects, what still I read in our red book, defects of character. I get to change them. Since I started my journey, I read a lot of material, and in my Loving Parent Guidebook, it says distorted thinking and behavior. I went, I get to use that. I don't have to be defective. I have distorted thinking and behavior, and it works for me. And if you want to say things like I heard a guy say at a meeting, oh my God, it affected me. I'll never forget it. He said, he raised his hand to share. He was recognized, and he said, I'm a defective person. I'm working on my defects. And I almost wept. I wanted to grab him by the collar and say, "You are not defective. There's nothing wrong with you." We all have issues. We all have distorted thinking and behavior. And we all get to work together. We are not alone. We get to work together to get rid of it. I want to quote Marianne Williamson here. I don't quote a lot of people, but with you all being enough, and you've always been enough, as am I, and we always will be enough. Judgmentalism is one of my ways of distorted thinking. Marianne Williamson said in a book she wrote many years ago, "Any darkness we let blind us to another's perfection also blinds us to our own." The more I hang around you as fellow travelers, the more I learn to embrace my perfection, I call it my enoughness. And I'm really learning this. Sometimes the onion that I'm peeling is painless. Sometimes I just go, "Wow, that's strong." And sometimes my eyes tear, and sometimes I have tears running down my face. So it's all different levels of peeling that onion, all different levels of page 212 in the big book. I was rehearsing that. I have to rehearse stuff if I'm going to do this. I even had my computer. I pulled up a screen of a crowd of people sitting. Man, I swear to God. I'm standing here going. I felt like a preacher. If you'll turn in your hymnal to page 212. I grew up Baptist, Southern Baptist. My mom told me, "Do you want to burn in hell for eternity?" Jesus Christ, that's a long time. But so when I came into 12-step fellowships and they told me I needed to have a God or higher power of my understanding, that's the only one I had an understanding of, so I went back to that. And it didn't work for me. And I am changed. My understanding of a higher power is like evolving. Sometimes today I'll feel like it's this, and tomorrow it's going to be that, or yesterday it was something else. Today I can tell you it's inside, whatever's inside me that removes my distorted thinking and behavior and removes what some literature wants to call defects of character. That is my higher power. And I'm judgmental when people tell me they call God he. I'm judgmental about that because I know that was the way I was taught. God is a man. God has a long beard. God is him. Well, I just don't believe that. It's whatever that little thing is inside me, and whatever you want to believe, God love you. Believe it, because it works for you. I have my truth. Just love me the way I am, and I'll love you the way you are. Page 212, the value of healthy pain. This is around the step 5, step 6 zones. Becoming willing to have a higher power remove our defects of character, distorted thinking and behavior, can range from being painless to moments of discomfort to agony. And my best work has happened. I guess my best work is always happening, but my best work, the more profoundly agonizing I go through something with, it seems the level of relief is directly related to the level of agony or discomfort. When I get through it, I feel, it's almost like getting high. I hate to say it. But it's almost like I have a mild buzz, and I go, oh my God, I'm glad I did that. At one time, I asked my therapist, could it be possible that I'm getting addicted to crying? Is that my phone? Not my phone. It's okay. It happens to everybody. I love you just the way you are. It happened to me one day at a meeting. Dr. Joe Dispenza came on my phone up in Killian Drive, a Sunday or Saturday morning meeting. It was great. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I went, it's my phone. Adult children, this is a bombshell for me. Adult children, this page 212 if you want to look back at it later. Adult children dread emotional pain because we had no one to stand with us as we experienced anguish as children. But I've gotten to the point, my boogeyman lives at home, at my house. I don't show it. He doesn't come bug me when I'm with you guys, because you guys will smack him down. I know that. When I get home alone is when my boogeyman comes. I used to call him Fast Eddie until I learned about critical parents. My critical parent. That's when he comes to get me, when I'm home alone. I'm learning through you guys, along with my ever-changing understanding of a higher power as I see it, that you guys are going to love me just as I am. And as Derek obviously sees more change in me than I allow myself to see, but I know I've made tremendous strides because you have shown me how. And I have heard, we have this technology. We're very, very fortunate. Our higher power has given us this technology. And the more I change and the more I read, the more I go, wow, remember this TV show, How It Works? All this technology, how it works. I go, what? Joe pegged it. It's a technology. If I even try, I get results. I don't have to strive for perfection, even though who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? Yeah, I'm pretty cool. I just want to be loved. I didn't get the love that I think I needed when I was on my way here. So I acted out to get some kind of attention. It was better than nothing, right? Tell me you see me. Tell me I'm enough. Because I don't believe it. But I'm on my way. I believe it more and more every day. Our experience reveals that there is value and emotional pain with support and with gentleness. I circled that. With gentleness, with support and gentleness, we can find our healthy pain and its healing release, just as we reclaimed our tears. If I get too mushy for some of you, too bad. Because I'm learning to love me just the way I am, thanks to all of you, Rick, Joe, Derek, Sue, everybody, you know. One more thing I wanted to read, and I'll go back to these. A solo struggle is not necessary. That was so important for me to know I am not alone. Like, I'm the only one in here with clothes on right now. So in that way, I'm like, well, that guy walked in the door back there with clothes on. After making it through, we feel changed. We embrace the inner strength we have always had. I didn't know it. And we see emotional pain in a new light. We see it as one instrument which can temper our diamond-hard survival traits. And my goodness, mine were diamond-hard. Some of them still are. I don't know it now after all this time. Sometimes I think, whoa, I was out there. I was doing it. And that's why meetings are so vital for me. This is the first time I've done an oral presentation since I was 2010, maybe 2009. And I was terrified. But I'm learning. And you guys, even if you don't love me for who I am, as long as I tell myself you do, that works for me. I want to close by saying, can I close now? Yeah. Okay. I never thought I'd make it this long. By saying, I was given an assignment, an exercise, a homework by my sponsor very soon after I came to you guys. He said, and just keep on loving me for who I am when I tell you this, because it was very profound. It was transformational. He said, I want you to get a photo of yourself, and I would encourage anyone to do this who is new, hasn't done it. I know many of you have. Get a photo of yourself when you were a kid. You got one? I said, yeah, I got 10, 12, 13 years old. He said, no, when you were a little boy. So I have one of those family portraits of my 3 siblings and I. You know, they used to take you to some of you don't remember black and white photos. And then they touch them up, you know, make them look like color. Of my 3 siblings and I sitting on a bench, I was 4. He said, I want you to look at that little boy and start a relationship with him. Start having discussions with him. So I did that. And after a couple of weeks of that, I got in touch with some feelings, had a few tears. After a couple of weeks of that, Joe said, have you been talking to little Toby? And I said, yeah, every day, man, at least once. Then he said, okay, it's like phase 2. He said, okay, now I want you to ask him, hey, buddy, what's the source? What's the origin of all this suffering and pain? No problem. I'm a tough guy. I can do that. You're not going to think I'm crazy if you've done it. If you haven't, it doesn't matter what you think. I laugh sometimes so I don't weep. He answered me. He began to sob. First, it's still very real. He put his head down. He began to cry a little bit, and then he began to sob. And between sobs, he said, my daddy left me. And I realized while he was sobbing that I was sobbing. And at that very instant, I had an awakening to the idea that I wasn't talking to little Toby over there. You pick up what I'm putting down? Yeah. And then I was able to start to embrace that idea of an inner family. Little Toby, teenage Toby, loves that F word. Loves it. He gets very angry when he sees little Toby threatened. If little Toby's hurting, teenage Toby, somebody's going to pay. Somebody's going to pay. I'm learning all this. My critical parent, it took me a while here before I learned that my critical parent is as much a part of my survival as my inner child and my teenager. So I don't want to punt that critical parent or give the critical parent the boot and throw him out because that critical parent saved me so many times. So I'm learning now through my work with my men's Loving Parent Guidebook group that some of these distorted thoughts and behaviors, they're easy. Get out of here. Leave me alone, no problem. They're easy. Some of them have faded gradually, and some of them I get to embrace and say, okay, that's the way it is. That's who I am. That's what's going on. And I can integrate that into me and be aware. Joe used to say, sometimes my little boy, I'm going to an adult venue, and I have to tell my little boy, hey, you're going to have to stay home tonight, buddy. I'll be back. And I thought that was so stupid when I first heard it. I couldn't believe. But now I start to realize, okay, yeah, whatever gives me comfort, whatever works for me, the idea that little Toby's pain is my pain. And that pain is stored, I've learned, in the very cells, physical parts of my body. And I can no more say it's not there. I remember my little sister, my dad would be spanking her with a belt. She'd look back and say, it doesn't hurt. And you knew it hurts. I learned to say it doesn't hurt. I learned to say, I'm not in pain, I don't hurt. And now, because of all you guys, and I mean girls when I say guys too, all of you, I am learning it's okay for me to show you my tears. It's okay. You guys love me anyway. So, page 212 has a lot of good stuff about healthy pain. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Derek. Thank you all for being here and lifting me up. Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much. Did I take too long? You're good. You're good. Thank you very much. Thank you.